I'm going to go over your homework problems for you. Some of you said last chapter that seemed to help. So we're going to start with number 3. And number 3, the problems are, um, they give you several different expressions. They want you to find the greatest common factor. So we have 12x squared y cubed, and we have 18x squared y, and we have 24x cubed y squared. So the first thing I need to do is look at my number parts. So I have 12, 18, and 24. I need to decide what is the greatest number that'll go in 12, 18, and 24. Well, 12 doesn't go into 18, so it's not 12. Another factor of 12 is 6. 6 will go into 12, 6 will go into 18, 6 will go into 24. So that's the biggest factor that'll go into all three numbers. All right, I have x squared here, I have x squared here, and I have x cubed here. So in common, they all have at least x squared, because this one has 3, this one has 2, this one has 2. So I can take 2 out of each expression. And here I have 3 y's, 1 y, and 2 y. So the biggest number of y's that I can take out is 1 y. So 6x squared y is my greatest common factor. Number 6, factor out the greatest common factor. Move that out of the way. Number 6, they give me the expression 5y minus 30, so I've got to figure out what could I take out. If I have 5y as a term and 30 as a term, my greatest common factor there would be a 5, and 5 times y gives me 5y, and 5 times a negative 6 gives me negative 30. And if I multiply this back out, it'd be 5 times y, which is 5y, minus 5 times 6, which is 30. So that's how you factor out the greatest common factor. Number 9, same thing. It's x times x minus 1 plus 6 times x minus 1. My greatest common factor here between these two terms, this is term 1 and this is term 2. What they have in common is they both have an x minus 1. So I'm going to take that out. X minus 1 times x gives me the first term, and x minus 1 times 6 gives me the second term. And that's how this factors. X minus 1 times x plus 6. If I undid it, it'd be x minus 1 times x, which is my first term, plus x minus 1 times 6. So that's what I started with. So that checks out. And then number 12, 3x minus 1 squared plus 3x minus 1. This would confuse some people, but if you look at this is one term, this is another term. What do they have in common? They both have a 3x minus 1. If I took that out in this first term, if I took out one 3x minus 1, I would be left with a 3x minus 1. If I took a 3x minus 1 out of here, I would be left with just a 1. If I divided out that factor, it would just leave me with a 1 because there is like a 1 understood to be here. So if I took out the 3x minus 1, I'd be left with a factor of 1. So this is how it factors: 3x minus 1 times 3x minus 1 plus 1. Because if you think about it, this first one is 3x minus 1 times 3x minus 1, and the second term is 3x minus 1 times 1. Now this can simplify. The first term, the first factor is 3x minus 1, but if I take this as 3x minus 1 plus 1, that's just 3x, so it simplifies a little bit. Alright, now I told you could skip 15 and 18. So next I'm going to go to 21. These ask me to factor using a difference of two squares. So it's 16y squared minus 9. So I'm going to set up two sets of parentheses. First I want to look, does it have a GCF? Nope, there's no GCF. 16y squared and 9 don't have anything in common. So now it has two terms and there's a minus in between here. So I say, is it a difference of squares? And it is. 16y squared is a square number. It's 4y times 4y. And 9 is a square number. It's 3 times 3. And then 1 gets a plus and 1 gets a minus. And that's how you factor 16y squared minus 9. 4y times 4y is 16y squares. My outers would be minus 12y. My inners would be plus 12y, which cancels. And then 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. Next is 24. 4 25ths y squared minus 64. Alright, to get 4, I do 2 times 2. To get 25, I do 5 times 5. To get y squared, I do y times y. And to get 64, I do 8 times 8. And 1 gets a plus, and 1 gets a minus. So 2/5 y times 2/5 y is 4/25 y squared. The outers would be minus 8 times 2/5 y, and the inners would be plus 8 times 2/5 y, which cancels. And then 8 times 8 is 64. And number 27. 9u squared minus 4v squared. Again, there's no GCF, nothing in common, so it's 3u and 3u. That's how you get 9u squared, and 2v and 2v. That's how you get 4v squared, and the plus and the minus. All right, number 30. Factor the perfect square trinomial. What this means is that both factors are going to be exactly the same. So what I'm looking for here is to get x squared to be x and x. And I needed to multiply to give me a positive 25 and add up to 10x. It's going to be plus 5 and plus 5. X times x is x squared. My outer would be plus 5x. My inner would be plus 5x. That makes plus 10x. And my last would be plus 25. 33. 25y squared minus 10y plus 1 is going to be 5y and 5y. Then to get 1, it's going to be 1 and 1, but I need the middle to add up to a negative 10. So I need my outers and my inners to be a negative 10y. So I get 5y and 5y, so both of these are going to have to be minus. 5y times 5y is 25y squared. My outers would be minus 5y, and my inners would be minus 5y. That makes minus 10y. And then negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. You can rewrite these in both 30 and 33. Instead of writing x plus 5, I could put x plus 5 squared. I could put 5y minus 1 squared. So that's a possibility too. All right, 36. 36 is 4x squared minus 4xy plus y squared. And so again, it's a perfect square trinomial. They tell me that. So my signs are the same, both minus. So it's 2x times 2x makes 4x squared. Y times y makes y squared. And if I do my outer, it's minus 2xy. And my inner is minus 2xy, which is minus 4xy. And if I want to, I can write that instead of 2x minus y times 2x minus y, I can rewrite it 2x minus y squared. And 39 is where we start the factoring the sum or difference of cubes. Let me go back to those rules that we had today. All right, these are the rules for sum and difference of cubes. If it's a cubed plus b cubed, it's a plus b times a squared minus ab plus b squared. If it's a cubed minus b cubed, it's a minus b times a squared plus ab plus b squared. It's the SOAP. You guys were telling me that your teachers from last year had said SOAP. The sign is the same, and then it's the opposite, and then it's always positive. So that sometimes can help you too. So if we look at 39, it's x cubed minus 8. And if we're doing x cubed minus 8, this is going to be the second case. It's got a minus. So my a will be x, and my b will be 2, because 2 cubed is 8. So it factors to x minus 2 times a squared, so that's going to be x squared, plus a times b, x times 2 is 2x, plus b squared, 2 squared is 4, and that's how 39 factors. 42 is z cubed plus 125, so it's going to be z plus, what cube gives you 125? It's 5. So z plus 5, and then it's going to be z squared minus 5z plus 5 squared, which is 25, and that's how 42 factors. We got one more like this, 45, and then I'm going to pause this video. 45 is u cubed plus 27v cubed. So if you'll think about it, this is u cubed, and this is 3, sorry about that, 3v cubed gives you 27v cubed. So it's plus u plus 3v, then it's a squared minus a times b, so that would be 3uv Always positive is plus. It's this squared, and when you square 3v, you get 9v squared, and that's how 45 factors. I'm going to pause it. We've been watching about 10 minutes, and I'll pick up. We're skipping problem 48, so I'll pick up with 51.